I actually did that. I made all the mistakes for you so that I can share now. Make money, and you will have to get your name out there. And I am not there yet, but maybe one day. I love clothes. They don't really bring that much money. Obviously that's costly. Try to set the goals for a quarter, for a year, for a month. Hi guys, welcome to Yogipreneur. My name is Alina, and today we're going to talk about all the different ways a yoga teacher can make money. Before we get further into the topic, remember to subscribe to the channel. Remember to hit the bell so that you don't miss on any of the future videos. We are releasing them every single Tuesday. Let's get started. Before we dive into this topic completely, I just want to tell you why I feel it is important to talk about it, and yet not a lot of people are talking about it these days. If you decide to go into a yoga business, you have to come with realistic expectations of how and how much you're going to be making. The second question I'll be answering in a completely separate video, more in depth, but the different ways that you can make money being a yoga teacher, that is something that we're going to discuss in today's video. The very first thing I want you to remember that if you want to make money being a yoga teacher, the first thing you have to become is an entrepreneur. You have to have that mindset. If you don't have it yet, you're gonna have to change it, mind over matter, but you have to become your own business. You have to start treating yourself as a business, because even if, and probably you will at first, work in different studios for different people, you will still be responsible for bringing the students in, for letting the students stay with you, not making them, but actually make them want to stay with you, to come to your classes again. And that takes a businessman that, on top of you being a person, on top of you being a human being, someone that people can relate to, that also takes a lot of business skills. And you have to treat yourself like a business, meaning that if you have no idea what marketing is, and if you've never studied this topic, you're either going to have to study that, or you're going to have to hire a person to work for your business as an employee. Obviously that's costly, and that's a whole different topic. I'm not going to start going into that right now, but remember, you have to become your own business. You have to become an entrepreneur, and you have to treat yourself like a business. That is how you're going to make money as a yoga teacher. All right, let's go into much more practical part of this, not course, it's not a course yet, maybe one day, but of this video. How are you going to make money being a yoga teacher? And I have my board here with me today, and we're just going to look at 3 different parts. When you first start, you're going to be an entry-level teacher. Entry-level. And when you are on this level, when you're just at the very beginning of your yoga career, the first thing that you are going to want to do is to start teaching yoga classes. Yes, that's pretty obvious, but that's, what you're going to have to do. And the very first and the easiest thing to do is to teach group classes at studio or gym. So studio, gym, classes. The second thing, and again, this is pretty obvious, you can start teaching private classes. Then from there, maybe you go further into creating your own private groups. So meaning that you gather together a bunch of people not affiliated with the studio, and you teach them yoga. So that would be your private groups. The fourth and the last way you can start making money as an entry-level yoga teacher is to teach corporate classes. And let's just talk for a little bit about all 4 of this. So when you first get out of your teacher training, studio is logical thing to do, is the logical way to go. First of all, because how else are you going to meet your community? How else are you going to meet your students? To create privates, to get private, you will have to go into studio, you will have to go to the gym, you will have to meet people, and you will have to get your name out there. The private groups is going to come from your privates when maybe one or more of your students know each other and they want to share the experience together. Maybe some students want to bring in their family and create a private group out of it. So your private groups is going to come from your privates, and the corporate classes are going to happen when you already kind of have your name out there, you have your student base, and some of your students undoubtedly will work in some big companies where they will want to implement yoga for employees, and this would be your perfect opportunity to get into it. The reason why I place them in this order is because this is how you will be paid. So the least amount of money obviously you will be getting in the studio or gym classes, and then it goes up from there. In the area where I live, which is Miami, the average for a studio class that the yoga teacher can get is around $50. Again, this is an average. There are people who can make more, but most of the people who are coming out of the teacher training are going to start around $25 per class. That changes from area to area. I know that in Los Angeles, it's around the same price. In New York, the price is a little bit higher. In smaller cities, obviously, it probably will go a little bit down. So you want to know that just to kind of have a reference. And then from there, the privates, obviously they cost more, usually about a double of what a studio or a gym class will pay you. And then private groups, you kind of create those prices as you go. It's going to be more than just a private with one person. And then corporate classes is another level. What is very important to know about this entry level is that a lot of teachers actually get really stuck in this entry level jobs. And we see a lot of teachers never really going further than the entry level. And the reason is to actually make a living just doing this for things, or actually just doing this to things, because you have to really grow to get into those too. You need to do a lot of them, and most of the teachers end up working 7 days a week with absolutely no breaks, teaching 5 to 6 classes a day, and this is a lot. This is very tiring. A lot of people burn out, and this is how yoga teachers either lose that fire that brought them essentially into the yoga practice, or they just walk away from the practice and they start working at a different job in the corporate setting where the income is a little bit more set. So it is important to go through this entry level stages, but it is also very, very important not to stay there for too long. I want to say about 2-3 years maybe for this one, and then you can completely move to the next stage, which is, let's call it intermediate yogi. And 2 things that you can add being an intermediate yogi here, let me push it a little to the side. 2 things that you can add to this list as an intermediate yogi would be workshops, and then it would be retreats. So most of those fun yoga teachers that we see on Instagram, that is how, or main way they're making their money. That's your workshops and your retreats. So this is a little bit more fun because with the retreats you get to really travel, you get to organize, you get to really connect with people, and with the workshops you get to share your knowledge much more in depth than you would in any of the other setting in the class setting. So I love both of these things, and I love traveling, so retreats are my jam. But what is important to know is that if you rush into these 2 things, you are risking to lose money. And I actually did that. I made all the mistakes for you so that I can share now. I guess that was the purpose. My first 2 retreats that I created, I had to cancel them. And I lost a lot of money on that. It was really heartbreaking experience, and it was very hard to bounce back from it. Ideally, when you want to start doing those workshops and retreats is when your students, your student base that you get from here start asking you for it. They are going to let you know that they want to know more through the workshop, that they want to travel with you, to share an experience with you with the retreats. They are going to let you know about it. So don't rush into it. Yes, you don't want to sit here for forever, but you don't want to rush this intermediate level, even though it's a lot more fun. And yes, those two can bring way more money. Workshops, from just one workshop, you can start eventually creating a workshop weekend series, and also can start traveling to different locations, teaching in different studios, meeting different people. And while it's actually not easy, it is really hard work. And I'll tell you this from personal experience, especially with the retreats. Even though I love them, this is a lot of work to keep people together, to keep them entertained, to make sure that everyone's experience is perfect. And it's a lot of responsibility. It really pushes upon you. But yes, it's fun. Yes, it brings way more money than these 4 things. So once you are 2 or 3 years into teaching yoga, start considering creating workshops and retreats. How to do it, we'll talk in separate videos, but right now, this is just for you to think about. Let's move on to the last and the third level. Let's call it advanced. I don't know if you can see it anymore. Let me just put myself to the side. Advanced. And for the advanced, there are 3 more things that we'll be adding. One thing would be yoga teacher training, YTT. Another thing would be festivals. Yeah, I know. And then it's going to be conferences. So these 3 things, and they're even more fun than these 2. First of all, yoga teacher training. For any yoga teacher, those who have done this, you are going to hear that this is the real money-making event. It's very important to not lose this border that you just forget about, that you're actually educating and creating new teachers and you just collect money. You want to have knowledge that you're going to share. You want to have that knowledge that people are going to be paying for. So it's not just the words. Those teachers who are asking for quite a lot of money, they have a lot of knowledge. They have a lot of experience, at least hopefully. I hope so. And that's kind of why they're allowed to do that. They worked for all those money. But yes, this is also really, really fun, especially if you get to do a teacher training somewhere in exotic location, so something like an immersion. We talked about those type of teacher trainings in the video about 200-hour teacher training. I'm gonna link it up here so that you can watch it as well. And it can actually become something in between retreat and workshop, and just put it all together for the entire month. So much fun. You get so close with your students. And yes, it is hard. It is absolutely not easy, but it is very, very rewarding on many, many levels. Another thing, festivals and conferences. I'm actually going to talk about those 2 together because they don't really bring that much money. Even if you're on the advanced level already, unless you're a headliner of those 2 things, you're actually not going to get a lot of money. But what you will get is a lot of exposure, and you will grow your following, which is still pretty good. And maybe one day you will become a headliner, who knows. What you don't want to do is to pay someone to be in those festivals and conferences. I mean, as a yoga teacher, not as a practitioner. Because if someone is asking you to pay to teach at those events, festivals, or conferences, most likely you're not here yet. You're here, or maybe even here. And I know people who were at the entry level and they wanted to shoot for the stars. They wanted to go here right away, and they were asked to pay to teach, which I know one girl who did, and then another one who said she won't do it. That is completely up to you, but ideally you don't want to do that. But also don't expect to get a lot of money, even if you get invited to those things, unless you're a headliner, which I hope all of you will become one day. So this is very, very traditional setting. This is how yoga teacher can make money in a very, very traditional way. of this business. But we live in an amazing time when we can actually create so many more sources of revenue, sources of income. And let me just show you a few of those. So I prepared this little list. I have no idea if you can see it right now, but I just called it a new age yoga teacher. And that's when you can get money from paid online content. You can create ebooks, you can have a lot of different collaborations with a lot of different brands. You can create your own applications where you can sell subscriptions to practice with you. You can create your own merchandise, which is kind of fun. I am not there yet, but maybe one day. I love clothes. You can make money on traveling and create a travel vlog. And this is really accessible to a lot of yogis, especially those who are already at the stage of doing different retreats, workshops, teacher trainings, because they travel anyways. So this is just something that makes sense. And then maybe you become a life coach. Maybe you have another set of skills. Maybe you're also a psychologist. Maybe you are a nutritionist. And if you combine those things, you can easily become life coach. And then content creation. This is just a small list of actually all the different things you can do, because you can apply other sets of skills that you have beyond teaching yoga and use it to create more income. For example, if you're an amazing writer, you can become a contributing writer for, let's say, Yoga Journal, and create some more content that's going to be about yoga world, because you know that world, because you are in that world, but you are also an amazing writer. If, for example, you are a great photographer, by the way, always looking for photographers. Teachers are always looking for photographers. So if you're a photographer, and if you're a teacher, knowing the alignment, knowing the poses, knowing what looks good on the pictures, God, you're gonna make some money, trust me. So if you're a photographer, you have a way in this business for sure. If you can dance, you can create some kind of fusion classes. I don't know, you can even create your own style, who knows? So the world is yours. You can really come up with so many different ways how you can make money being a yoga teacher. But circling back to the very beginning of this video, what I said when we just started, you have to become an entrepreneur. If you want to make money being a yoga teacher, the first thing you have to become is an entrepreneur. You have to become your own business. Maybe create a mission statement, understanding what is it that you want. Maybe you set the goals, try to set the goals for a quarter, for a year, for a month, whatever time frame you're more comfortable with, try to set those goals. So really treat yourself as a business. This is how you're going to become a successful yoga teacher. This is how you're going to make money in this world. Thank you so much for staying with me in this video, guys. I'm so excited. I was so excited to share all this information because I love it, and I hope you do too as well. Make sure that you hit subscribe button, make sure that you hit the bell. I'm looking forward to seeing you in my next video, and in the meantime, drop the comment below. What are your creative ways of making money as a yoga teacher? How do you think you can make more money being a yoga teacher? I'm always looking for more ways myself, so please, let's help each other out. Love you guys. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. I'll see you back in the next video.